In the name of Amen, the Supreme, the All-Powerful, the one and only true Lord, in Amen we trust, in Amen we think, and in Amen we will continue forward forever as the 144,000 within the Republic of Mentellect. Good morning. This is your host, Indira Mendez, on Mentellect Radio, and today's day is Sunday, March 18, 2018, on a Sunday morning. And this morning's topic is going to be about power over three-dimensional pursuits. Please keep in mind that this is a 30 to 45-minute talk show, live talk show at that, so you all can stay tuned. Also, in regards to the topic, I just want to give a pre-introduction of what the topic is going to initially be about. So the power over three-dimensional pursuits was a chosen topic for this morning for the acknowledgement and the ability to alter our state of existence in different dimensions. That way we can exceed, extend, and expand our mission into the future without disturbance and minor distractions. So this is really for those who are a part of the Republic of Mentellect, known as Mentellians. You know, it's something that you want to keep in mind, opposed to, being able to practice the ability to have power over these three-dimensional, things. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to talk about is the power over people and how to gain that power over submental people. And submental people consist of people that don't really think before they say or do things, and they usually are reactionaries. Okay, so these are the type of people that are submental. And one of the things that you want to be able to do is project your thoughts higher. So in other words, when you are either having a conversation with someone or you are, working with someone or dealing with someone, usually 9 times out of 10, people just want to feed off of your energy, or people just want to, they're attracted to you because you have a certain radiance about yourself, and sometimes they just want to leech off of that type of energy over you. So usually 9 times out of 10, when you project your thoughts higher, you don't really get engulfed or engaged with, in conversations that are useless or people that are pointless in being a part of your life. Okay, so this is how you should project your thoughts higher. Okay, usually 9 times out of 10, when you are vibrating on a low frequency with these people, or you stoop down to their level, sometimes you bring down your vibration and your upper mental capability when dealing with these people and stoop to their level, which is what they ultimately want to achieve in bringing you down. So as a result of practicing to project your thoughts higher, you can actually attain and maintain your peace of mind and not even get entangled in chaos and confusion with these people, okay? Especially the people that are not of Amen. And then the next thing would be to be 10 steps ahead of these submental people. And how you can be 10 steps ahead of these submental people is because you'll realize that submental people behavior and habits are usually predictable. So when these people are predictable in their demeanor, their behavior, their habits, and it's just a negative connotation that they have about themselves, that gives you the upper hand to be 10 steps ahead of them. I know sometimes you get into situations like maybe on a work, at work or whatever the case might be, and you're with coworkers that are very submental, and you might have to be around these types of people because of your work responsibility and things like that. But at the end of the day, you can also allow yourself to be 10 steps ahead of them of how you interact with them, how you talk to them, how much energy you're going to, invest in these people and things like that, and just be beyond just, the three-dimensional, their mindset and things like that. So even if it takes a little bit of pretentious actions or whatever the case might be, just to keep these people out of your space or your energy, then sometimes you have to be pretentious. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to be fake or you have to be, disoriented, it just means that sometimes, when dealing with these people, they are limited in their way of thinking. So by you allowing yourself to be 10 steps ahead of them, you know how to deal and interact with them accordingly based on their limitations of their way of thinking and how they come to you and the things that they're going to, do or say that that may be a little immature, So, not to really get caught up into those types of things. Okay, and then when you also dealing with those types of people that may come into your life, you have to really it's very important that you determine whether these people are going to be an asset to your life or a liability. Now, I know sometimes some people say, oh, that's using someone when you want them to be an asset, but at the end of the day, everybody gets used. Just like intellectual Nuben Menkare's mentioned, everybody get used on some type of level. Okay, so even if somebody coming into your life, they shouldn't be coming into your life to destroy. They should be coming into your life to add to it, extend you, and move you forward into the future. If they don't have no future plans for you or, moving forward or whatever, they just there to destroy it and bring you down to their level. Okay, so this is why it's important to determine will these people be assets or liabilities over time. And a liability is someone, it may be someone that you love, it may be a family, a relative, or whatever the case might be. They always putting themselves in situations that's going to jeopardize whatever it is that you're doing. And meanwhile, you may be on a successful path, getting yourself together and trying to achieve that point of success, but then you might have that one relative or that one, girlfriend or that boyfriend that's going to bring you down, or somebody in particular, that's going to do something to alter that state of you being focused. So one of the things that you have to do, you have to realize that that person is not an asset to your life. It doesn't matter how much you love or care or are concerned about these types of people. You have to let them go. You have to cut them off because they are becoming a liability to you. Okay, they are not assets to your life where they looking to add something to your life and your future. Okay, their whole agenda is to be destructive because they're self-destructing. So their agenda will be to destruct you, whether they mean to do it intentionally or unintentionally. This is what the whole purpose of them doing these types of things. Okay, so the people that are assets, a part of your life, the people that are adding to your life, these are the people that you should keep in your life. Even if they are not of the Republic of Mentellect, you can utilize them accordingly for whatever it is that you need to be doing that's going to move you forward. Okay, and then moving on along to do not feed into negative energy. That's useless. Okay, that include people that are always negative, especially people that are miserable. And we all know that's the saying that misery loves company. So especially those types of people, don't feed into them. Don't feed them into their negativity, or their energy. Because what's going to happen is going to reciprocate you being drained. You allowing yourself to, bring down your vibration and to stoop to their level. So sometimes, you might have people that want to defend themselves, speak up and say things, and sometimes just silence just say it all. If you're just silent, or sometimes you have to dismiss a useless conversation that is not going nowhere, especially for those people that like to debate or argue and stuff like that. They're very argumentative. It's not really going nowhere, so it's best to just dismiss the conversation. And just like intellectual Nuben Menkare will mention, he said it takes two people to argue in a situation. So sometimes being a bigger person, being 10 steps ahead of the person, is sometimes you have to dismiss the conversation because it's useless and pointless. Your point is not that important, okay? Because at some point in time, through an argument or debate, egos get involved. So it's going to be a clash of egos and just a dispute going back and forth that really doesn't really make no sense. Okay, whether a person is defensive or they trying to be, just defensive or offensive, or they take offense towards anything, whatever the case might be. You have people on those types of, between those two states when they are arguing. You got one person that's offended, one person trying to defend themselves, or, however way the argument goes. Okay, so the whole point is don't feed into that. Another thing is one thing that intellectual renewal Makaris mentioned. He said never give a demon power. In other words, you got people that are very demonic in their behavior, their actions, their thoughts, and everything. And at times, it sometimes it's in disguise, and sometimes people are just blatantly come out with that demonic energy or whatever the case might be. You can't feed or give them that type of demonic energy power. Okay, so the more negativity you feed into the person or whatever the case might be, the more things get blown out of proportion, and then one thing ends up leading to one thing from another. Okay, and what I mean by that is you have some people that they'll argue and then they want to take it down to fighting, which is it becomes pointless because one person feels disrespected, one person feel like they gotta defend themselves, and it's just like it's no point. Okay, now moving along to power over possessions. Now the question is how to gain power over possessions. And the way you are able to do that is that you have to look at different types of possessions as a means of a tool. Okay, like for example, we might have money as a tool. You gotta utilize that as a material value for an investment. So you got to look at possessions as a means for something to acquire something else that is an investment for the future, not something that's just monetarily, that's going to be, either you're using a tool such as money to waste it, but something that's going to generate more, money to come in, or something that's going to benefit you into the future. Okay, and then one of the other things that stands out too is never look or never simulate or look at material gains as a means of your value or worth. Okay, because when you feel that, especially in relationships, you have women that get into relationships with a man and they feel like based off of what he purchases her or the things that he buy her or her Louis Vuitton bags or nice designer shoes and things like that, that's something that signifies her worth and her value. But at the end of the day, you can have all of those things in one day, and the next day it can be all gone. So that's destruction in itself. Another thing too, when you pass on or you move along, you can't take those things with you. That's 2. And then 3, at the end of the day, you can have all of those things. You could be glamorous on the outside, beautiful, and have all of these, material gains. But at the end of the day, you are really disgusting and nasty on the inside as a so-called woman. Okay, so you trying to equate your material gains as your value and worth. At the end of the day, you really don't have no value or worth. You just trying to disguise that which is destructive inside of you, and vice versa with men. Especially when you trying to acquire certain things and you got cars and, houses and stuff like that, you feel like that's like a notch in your belt, that it means something, but at the end of the day, all that stuff can be taken away. So you have to look at possessions from a different perspective of things. Okay, so I'm just using those 2 things as an example of how not to look at material gains as a means of your value or worth. Okay, so another thing is to determine the point of value of possessions as well. If you want to purchase something and it's an investment, you gotta determine the value behind it. Like, how is this going to be of use to you, in the future, not just monetarily, not for other people, for you to show off to other people or things like that. Things that are going to be productive, things that's going to, be useful for you in the future. That's how you determine the value of these possessions that you have, whether you are going to get money coming in or it's going to be other means of tools that you're going to have, other resources and things like that coming into. You have to be able to manage those things accordingly and look at it as means of investments and not just monetary purchases and things like that. Okay? And then last but not least will be to gain clarity on the purpose for each possession that you acquire. So that goes along with you determining the value and then the purpose for it. You have to be clear. Why am I purchasing this thing? Why am I investing in this particular thing? such as, let's say, if you're trying to purchase a building or something like that, or you're trying to, purchase a house or something like that, you got to find out what is the purpose of it all, okay, and be clear on that. You have some people say, oh, I just want to purchase this just to have that because I'm going to make money, and no, that's not enough. You have to think, thoroughly and with a clear thought. Okay, so with that being said, we're going to be right back. I'm going to play a little bit of music. Okay, and we are back. So now I'm going to talk about the power over places and how to define the value in having power over places. So one of the things would be to being in the right place at the right time. And the only reason why I say that is because your presentation, your purpose, and your performance based on where you're at the right time is determined based on those three things: your present, purpose, and performance. So you might be at a particular place, or you might meet a specific person, or whatever the case might be, and the way you present yourself and the whole purpose of you having a conversation with that that person, and your performance behind it all will be determined about your level of power and taking ownership of where you at, and just having taking ownership of you being confident and you presenting yourself at that right time in that moment. Okay, so that's one of the things to keep in mind. Okay, and then being able to extend yourself in space and gravity. And what I mean by that, in other words, you have to be able to extend your thoughts and existence beyond present moments of time frames. So that's one thing that you are able to have power over places in general, because you don't have to necessarily subject yourself to one environment or place, especially when you are Mentellian and your capabilities are being advanced. It's more than just physically being in one present place. You can be in one place, which we call astral projection. If you know how to do that, you can be in one place and at in one space and time, or whatever the case might be. So that can only happen by way of you extending yourself and your thoughts into the future. Okay, and then another thing would be to determine the whole purpose of being present in a particular place and environment. Like, what is your whole point in being at the place where you are at? And when you understand your purpose of being in a particular place, then you will be able to have power over the place. You will be able to send out certain thoughts, certain frequency in that environment that will be based on your level of energy or your insight of just being wherever you are at. Okay, so if your thoughts is to be in a peaceful environment, you can send out those thoughts, and the people, places, or whatever the case might be will fall in alignment of that thought that you project out. Okay, so that's one way of having power over the environment of where you are at. Especially if you don't want those submental people on your job or whatever the case might be coming next to you, you can send out that thought and they won't come to you. They'll just leave you alone and, go about their business or whatever the case might be, and won't, really, be around you to either leech off of you or drain you of your energy. So just based off of the thought that you put out, and that requires more than just a focus, but you have to have a concentrated focus on projecting that thought, so that way you don't have to be drained by, people on your job or whatever the case might be. Okay, just hypothetically, speaking, and it could just be in relationships or, any other environment, whether you're in school or whatever the case might be. You can always do these things and project those types of thoughts. Okay, and then one of the things you want to be able to do is focus on your purpose, your presence, and your performance. Your performance has a lot to do with your actions in certain places, and be mindful of the people in the place, your environment, and the possessions that are around you, whereas the possessions will affect how you will perform in certain things. So, like I said, going back to working, your performance is very important, how you're going to execute and be effective in your role and your responsibilities and what you want to do to carry out those responsibilities on the job or whatever the case might be. and then based on whatever you have available to you to allow yourself to be efficient and effective in your performance is what's important as well. So this is how you are able to have power over, people, possessions, and places, which is your environment in particular. Okay? So one of the things that when you are able to mind out for the places is that one of the things you want to ask yourself, is it safe? The point of purpose and being aware of your environment is being mindful of the place. Okay, and then mindful of people. You can pick up people vibration automatically when you encounter them or you in front of them. You can pick up their vibration, especially if you are really sensitive to people vibrations and things like that. So you can pick it up based on their presence, their vibration, and the telepathic thoughts that they send out. Sometimes people send out telepathic thoughts to you, and you can pick it up automatically. So even in that, you want to be able to be mind out for those types of people as well. Okay, so with that being said, I will open up the lines for any questions, comments, or remarks or concerns, but it doesn't look like it's a lot of people online. So I only have one caller that's online. I'm not sure if they want to ask any questions, but usually I'll take this time out to have these people ask questions, comments, or remarks. Maybe I'll give the person a chance to see if they want to share their thoughts. 416, you on air?
Yeah, I didn't have any questions. I'm just listening in. Thanks, though.
Oh, okay. All right, no problem. Okay, so I'm just basically going to give an overview of what I discussed on this morning. Hopefully those who were listening can go back and listen to the show. We're going to cut it a little short, being that we don't have people to come in to ask questions or give their comments or remarks. So this morning's topic was about power over three-dimensional pursuits. And I spoke about power over people, how to gain power over submental people, and then I also talked about power over possessions and how to gain power over possessions in particular, and then power over places, like how to define the value and having power over places. So this is what I talked about on this morning. And for those who took the time out to listen to MENTELLECT Radio, I thank you all for taking the time out to listen. And for those who are part of the Republic of MENTELLECT, Menzek Amenoon, to all the NYs and NRUs. And I hope that you all have a wonderful day.
Black race to the black race. If it's hell, I'm in, then it's hell us. They tried everything just to spell us. Fed us religion, gave us fake gods. Through all of that, we beat the odds. Now we coming together under one flag. Colors red, gold, and blue. Superman, Superwoman, that's me and you. The infinite capabilities that we can do. We the